Welcome to Minecraft Fixer Upper. Today we're going to look at this amazing world. It is by Bdubs and we're going to do a fixer upper on the house that you can see behind me. So let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to start by fixing the scale of the build. As you can see, there's 2 blocks on the bottom. Then the next floor is 3 blocks tall, and the roof is even taller with 4 blocks. This seems a little bit weird to me personally because usually, the first floor and the second floor are about the same size. So I'm actually going to extend the lower floor up to 4 blocks, and I'm going to just pick a random block. In this case, it's going to be the mossy cobble, and put the 4 block high walls all the way around, and then I'll bring you back in. Alright, so I have just heightened the lower floor all the way around. Obviously, I'm not going to keep it in the mossy cobble. The mossy cobble is quite a busy block. I am going to texture it later. But as always, scale and shape comes before texturing. So we'll do that in a later step. Now I'm going to lift up the upper floor by probably 2 more blocks. And I will see you once that is done as well. Alright, so I lifted up the upper floor so it matches the lower floor. As you can see, we have 4 blocks on the bottom and we have 4 blocks on the top. I had to remove the roof temporarily, but we'll put it back in. The next that I would look at is shape. And right now, the house is it's a little bit boxy. I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit boxy, so maybe if we could add like a little bit to the side somewhere. Let's see. If you decide on where to add shape, sometimes composition can be really nice. So I feel like naturally the way would flow this way if you wanted to pass the house, and not this way because it looks kind of tight in the corners. So I would probably put the extension or the little add-on, I guess. I will put it here. Maybe like so. And here, and then we'll have a look on the spot where we looked before to see if that could look nice. And I think that looks quite nice actually. Yeah, I think that looks nice. Alright, so we'll build that up as well, like so. And I think we'll keep that piece lower than the top piece, just so we have some variation in depth here as well. And I think the next step that we're going to look at is depth. So Bdubs had these, like here, these wooden beams going across, some vertical and some horizontal. And instead of making them in this space here, like it was before, I'm going to actually take them out and add them as an extra layer here to the sides, because that will give it a bit more depth and just add to the building a little bit. In the corners, it could be nice if we can just add a bit of a beam that frames the lower section nicely and adds a bit more depth to the front part of the building as well. Also, little things such as placing the doors on the inside, like so, can add a lot to the building. See how it kind of gives it a bit more depth here as well? That can add a lot. So we'll do that whole way around, put back the pillars that were here before, and add them as an extra layer on the outside. Alright, so I added the pillars and the wooden beams all the way around, and as you can already see, it makes a big difference. I left this side open because I want to have a roof on the small part that goes up here, and that side's going to be covered mostly anyway. Now we have a little bit of depth. We can always add more depth, but I think that's like a good start for the beginning. So I think the next step that we're going to do is add back the roof. And something that we're going to change about the roof is that, as in this building here, the roof was very flat with the build. And we're actually going to take the roof out. So when we build the roof, we're not just going to stay in these lines. We're actually going to go over the pillars, and then we're actually going to go over one more to add even another layer of depth. Depth can really help your Minecraft build come together, and more is more when it comes to depth. Alright, so I finished the roof. I kept the roof pretty similar. I just expanded it to the sides. So the next step that I'm going to do is to actually fill in the walls that are still left here. And there we go. Obviously, we have not textured at all, so it looks a bit plain still, but I think we have a nice shape going. The house has some interest, has some interesting bits going off to the side. It has some depth. And next step is going to be the texture. We want to get rid of that cobbly mess down here and just give it a bit of a nicer look. As a build palette, I think I am probably going to go with cobble, since Pistu obviously wanted it to be cobble. So I am going to use cobble, mossy cobble, maybe mix in some stone, and of course mix in some andesite as well for the bottom part. And then the top part, I think I will go with the concrete and the diorite mixture. So I will see you once that is done. Alright, so I finished the texturing. And I also decided on some windows in the upstairs because I wanted to do the polished diorite around the upper floor windows to give it a bit of a detail, I guess. That is something that I want to talk to you about when it comes to detailing. Don't just randomly throw blocks in. Like, it looks really messy if you just randomly spam them. Think about why they're there. Like, for example, with the mossy cobble, I tended to put it somewhere in the corners or connected to corners because I felt like, you know, grass and stuff would grow. Maybe the wood holds some moisture, and that would make it more likely to actually get mossy. So in this case, I was like, okay, I need some kind of a window frame, and so I put it above and beneath the windows. Also, when you texture, I usually personally don't like having just one piece somewhere. In this case, I put one, but most of the time I have at least two pieces next to each other that are of the same style. And by next to each other, I don't just mean this and this plane, but also have them like go diagonal. I feel that gives it a bit more of a realistic look, I guess. So next up, I think, is going to be deciding where more of the windows are. I already did that on the upstairs. I didn't do that on the downstairs yet, so we'll do that right now, and then we'll get into the next phase, which is detailing. Alright, so I have decided on where the windows are going to go. And next step, I'm going to put in some glass, but I just wanted to bring you in for a second and talk about window sizes. Basically, you can choose any shape or size window for your builds, but you should decide if you have 2 tall or 3 tall or just 1 tall windows, and then keep that size at least on the same floor, unless it's like a different window, like if you have a circle window or anything. But just imagine if I had like a 3 tall window here and a 2 tall window here. That looks kind of weird. So that's why I want to keep it kind of consistent. And in this case, I chose 2 high windows, so we have a little bit of space for some decoration here. Which brings us to the next phase of detailing. When you don't know how to start detailing, usually what I try to do is look at an area and say like, okay, so if this was a real life building, what would it have? Like, what kind of a thing would I add? What would people have? Something that I like to do is use fence gates. And maybe let's try different colors and see which one we like best. If we want to go with the spruce, want to go oak, or want to go dark oak. I think in this case, personally, I like the dark oak. And a really nice detail if you have overhangs with like the wooden beams like this is to have open fence gates underneath of them, so it looks a little bit like it's you know, like something holding the beams up. Alright, so we put in the little beam supports all the way around. And next step, I think I want to add in some pops of color, and I'm going to do that with flowers. I'm going to make small little flower beds. And to hide the dirt, you can use trapdoors. That usually works really well. Have them like so, and have them be on the sides as well, like so. Like so, that's a little nice flower pot. I think for this build, I might go with 3 wide just because I want to add a lot of color and I really like the look. And can you see how much of a difference just a little pop of color already makes? I kind of really like it. So I'm also going to put in some of the details up here. There we go. It's going to cover up the polished diorite, but you're going to see it from the inside and also from the top in case you're flying over. So I think it's still worth it. I'm going to put some flowers in here. And we're going to do this for all the windows all the way around. Alright, so I added in the flowers all the way around. I think it looks really, really nice with a pop of color. And I also textured the roof because I forgot to do that earlier. And I think it kind of needed a bit of a fresh up since all the gray was just too boring. Since we have all the flowers now down here now, I wanted it to look a bit more, inviting. So the next step that I'm going to do is also part of detailing. And it's more like a bit of, I guess you could call it cluttering. I wouldn't really do that with houses that are more of a modern and clean style, but with houses that are a bit more medieval and that go along Bdubs line of building, I would definitely add some clutter, I guess. Clutter, for example, could be things such as having a barrel or maybe a chest. Is it a trap chest? No, no more one. Exactly. Somewhere next to the front door, maybe. Oops. Gotta shift. There we go. Like so. Having them like this. Maybe even add the chest like so. Of course, this is just an idea you could do. You could also do some more plantings. You could do one of my personal favorites, which is some bushes. Right now I have my graphics on fast, so the bushes don't look that great, but just add a little bit. And when you do natural things, don't do like I just did right now. Don't make it too symmetrical. Just add a bit of asymmetry to natural elements. Also, of course, the path doesn't really work anymore since I actually put the doors towards the back. So maybe we could fix the path up a little bit so it actually lines up with the door and doesn't just end in a grassy bit, which doesn't really make much sense. I am going to do the little bits and pieces off camera because I don't really know what I'm gonna do yet. I just let myself get inspired by the build, and I'm going to walk you through what I did and what I was thinking and why I did it in just a second. Alright, since I want the build to be quite simple, I actually ended up doing just a little bit of decoration, and as I didn't want to overdo it, I let myself get inspired a little bit by where we're at right now from nature. As you can see, here is a jungle, but we are actually in a mountain biome, so we have a little bit paler grass and we have mountain areas here. So I figured things like bamboo and stuff wouldn't work as well. So I went with berry bushes, which are from a taiga and naturally fit in very well. And also some fern, which also fits really well with the more subdued grass color. I put in a barrel, and in this step I also took care of lighting. Of course, lighting, if you're in survival, is an important step. I hid some lanterns up there. I placed some quite obvious as like a decorational element. Oopsies. I actually took out some of the support beams on the sides to be able to put in lanterns. If in the process you decide that something that you did you don't really like that much or doesn't serve a good purpose for you, then you can just change it. Like, no one forces you to keep something. Like here, I right now have a mod on that shows me where it's lit up and not. So here we still need a little bit of a detail, so we will copy that here. So I think everything is lit up now. I will turn off the mod that shows me where it still needs some light, and I think it looks really nice. I added a little bit of a barrel pile in the back here, put some lanterns on it, as if someone was just working on it and left a lantern there. Also added a little bit more of a rough and less manicured patch with ferns and berries on this side, because this side, no one's really walking along here. People are probably gonna come this way. so no one's really gonna go there. So I made it look a little bit more abandoned. I also put in glass, and with the glass, I really like to use panes whenever I get a chance, just because they add a tiny little bit more depth to the building, and as we have already established, more is more when it comes to depth. The next step to finish up the build is actually going to be the interior. As you can see, Pistu3 didn't really have time to do much. There's just an anvil, a bed, and a banner. And even the floor is still grass. So I think we should totally tackle this. For the floor, I usually like to go with something quite simple. Usually a wood color. It could be planks or stripped logs. I guess it also depends on how much you have, like how much resources and what kind of things you can afford. So I'll get rid of those things. And then we have a blank canvas, and we'll just put in a floor. Of course, what we can't forget is a way to get up and down. In this case, I'm gonna add a little staircase, and we're gonna add a middle floor right where the stone goes into the white section. And I will bring you back in once we get the floors in. Alright, so we have put in the floors, and also, oops, I can't get up. Also the upper floor. Obviously this one is a bit shorter because it doesn't have as much room height. So if you don't like the roof showing here, personally what I would do is just cover it up like so. Shorten the room a tiny little bit. Don't forget to light it up in the back there so nothing spawns. There we go. And you have a nice little nook. Now, one thing that I really like to do that I wanted to show you before I did it was to use the stair for storage. So, as we all know, inventory management is a serious issue in Minecraft these days. And I really like using barrels in the stairs. I'm gonna put in the staircase, and then we'll get to interior decorating. Alright, so I put in the staircase, have like a nice droopy down landing. Whoopsie, that lantern was more for lighting up purposes. We'll hang it to the top for now. So I added some storage here, which I think that's pretty cool, but I also want to add some more storage here. I'm just gonna get some spruce stairs, put them in here where I had the concrete before, and when I put a chest under it, as you can see, it will still open with no problem at all, and I can tuck my chests back a bit more just so it gives me a bit more space in the area. I'm also going to add some slabs on top of here. Slabs work as well, of course, so we have like a nice backdrop to our storage. Now, we still need a little bit of a workstation area. I really like hiding them in some sort of a kitchen. Let's get rid of all that stuff here, and let's see what we could get. So we're probably going to want to get a furnace, and maybe you want to get a smoker as well if you want to cook a lot of food. Depends on what you're eating. My personal favorite food is golden carrots, so I am not really using a smoker very often, but you might want to use a stone cutter as well. Just look through the creative menu, or just look through your crafting table if you are not in creative. So let's see, I want to add a furnace here probably, and I'm gonna have to get something that looks a bit like a workbench, so I think I'm gonna use some more barrels. You always need some storage for food and stuff, so that could be used as that very easily, I think, like so. If you want to add a little kitchen area with a cauldron, if you have enough iron to spare it, that is obviously always a nice idea, getting in a cauldron. And I really like the design where you just use a tripwire hook as like a tap. Personally, I also like to use barrels on the top here. That gives it a really nice look. Now we just need a spot for our crafting table. Something that is quite snazzy that I have been doing in the past couple of years is to actually remove the doors real quick, to actually use crafting tables as like a doormat kind of. So you just have it look like this from the outside, which gives it a little bit of a look like it's you know, where you put your feet when they're dirty and take off your shoes. But when you're in your house, you don't have a crafting bench running around. You just open up the door and you have one right where you are. So I really like that. Obviously, we still have the stone cutter to put somewhere. This one I think I will put in the back where I put the barrel madness here. I think a stone cutter will complement it nicely and make it look like it's a work area. Then I like to decorate the bed a little bit. Something that I really enjoy doing is using bookshelves next to the bed. Personally, I really like reading a lot, so I really enjoy having that as a decorational item, I guess. In this case, even though I really love decorating with bookshelves, I think I will skip on the bookshelf and I think I will use a slab instead because it's a bit crowded in here and I think the bookshelf is just too dominant. So I'll have like a little wall shelf here, have the bed here, and have a really nice area. Now the floor looks a bit empty right now, so I feel like we could use a nice carpet when you come in. Have like a little mat here at the door, and maybe have like a little patch in front of the kitchen area. I think that looks nice. Yeah, I like that. That looks nice. All right. Now for lighting, I am going to use my handy dandy mod again and see if we have any of those little crosses somewhere. This one looks quite good, like so. See, now that I broke the lantern, this one isn't actually lit up. That's fine though. I think I'm just gonna hang the lantern a bit more central in the room instead of over there with the storage. Let's check upstairs. Ooh, this one is not lit up at all. And we haven't put in the ceiling, but we'll do that in a second. Actually, let me just do that real quick and then we'll light it up. There we go. I just filled it in with some white concrete, and I guess we can just use this place. Since we abandoned the bookshelf on the bottom, I feel like we could have like a little nice reading area that could be really nice. Have like a little reading nook. It's not the most impressive reading nook ever, but it's a small base, so we'll make do with what we got. And then we'll just hang maybe here. Does it bother me when I come up the stairs? No, it doesn't. All right, just hang one in the corner here. Maybe here as well. That looks nice to have a bit of symmetry here. And I think I will also add some of the light gray carpet that we use downstairs and just, whoopsies, make the area a bit nicer. Of course, I'm starting to break everything, which isn't ideal, and then have like a little carpet area around the seating here. That looks nice, I think. I like that. All right, so with that, I think we are done. So basically what we did to make the house look as it looks right now is we fixed the scale to make it even on the top and the bottom. We brought in some more depth with the pillars and also with the roof coming out. We set the door a little bit more in, just adding a bit more detail and a bit more depth. Detail, of course, I don't really have to mention, we already went over this. We also did, of course, some texturing on the bottom and on the top, also on the roof. We focused on having the texture actually make sense, like placing blocks with purpose and not over cluttering. We fixed up the landscape outside, and of course, we did a nice little interior for the build with lots and lots and lots of storage. That makes living here quite enjoyable, I think. So I hope you guys really liked the first episode of Fixer Upper. I had a lot of fun doing it. If you want to have one of your builds participate in a Fixer Upper, don't hesitate to just contact me and send me a DM on Instagram. It's Tillycat over there, or you can use the Hermitcraft Quotes Instagram. Just send me a DM, send me a picture of your build that you want me to show you how you could improve it. Obviously, This isn't the only way or the right way to do things. This is just one way that I would personally do it. And I hope you liked it. I hope you learned a little bit that you can implement for your own builds. And if you got any good vibes from this video, don't forget to pass them on to someone else. And I will see you in the next episode. If you have made it to the end of this video and you really want to make my day, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.